Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to my channel. So my name is Kerry and I'm a Jamaican living in Japan, and on this channel I do vlogs and videos about my life here in Japan, and I hope that my videos will be helpful to anybody who watches them, to everybody who watches them. We're in January now. It's job hunting season in Japan, and I know that many persons are probably wondering what's their next move. If you've just finished JET, you're about to finish JET, you're trying to change jobs, you're probably wondering what's the process like, what are the interviews like, what are some of the questions that they're likely to ask you in an interview, how long is the interview, how best to prepare for those interviews. Well, I think I have a decent amount of experience as it pertains to interviewing in Japan, and last year around this time I did an interview where I was very successful, and I think that I so happened to have recorded the interview just to see how well I do in it, and just to always have it to reflect on. And due to privacy concerns, of course, I've had to modify the voices in the interview, the interviewers, and also just information that I think should be kept confidential. But I hope that this video will be useful to somebody. Of course, guys, I wanted to be a bit more professional for this video. I wanted this recording to be me in a suit or something like that, and me having a little makeup on and looking refined and all of that. But my motivation has been very low these days, and I decided that, you know what? If I'm to wait to be in a mood to record this video, it will probably not get done. So hence, I'm here in my bathroom recording it right now. But I do hope that you'll find the video, which really matters, the interview, I hope that you'll find it useful, and that whatever you do, you know, just continue to be positive about your job hunting process. I hope that doors will open for you in 2022, and that, you know what, you'll kick asses in your interviews. Please enjoy this video, guys, and until the next one, bye. Mwah.
But we would like to really get to know you, and so we're going to go over some questions with you for the next 45 minutes or so, and of course, again, answer your questions. So let me start with, you have an extensive experience in education. We can see that you're very passionate about education. But from your own words, why did you become an educator? Why did you decide that this is something you want to do with your life? We all have values, I think, and individual reasons about why we teach and how we teach, and what we like to do in our classroom, and how we would like our students to respond. We'd love to hear your thoughts on that.
Okay, so I've always wanted to be a teacher. The reason I decided to pursue teaching is because my godparents, they were teachers, and they had such a monumental impact on my life when I was growing up, especially because I didn't really have the support of parents then. And so I wanted, from early, I understood the power of education, and the fact that despite your limitations or circumstances, education empowers, and it enables you to transgress any kind of situation. And I wanted to be that kind of person. I wanted to leave a similar impression on others. So that's why I decided that I wanted to be a teacher from very, very early. When I was in Jamaica, after completing teachers college, I started teaching at the secondary level. I taught at one of the most prestigious high schools in Jamaica, and even then, because especially as a young teacher, I always knew that, yes, I'm going to be a teacher, but the reality, it became so real when I was in the classroom, and I had a sort of epiphany, and I was like, yes, this is my calling. This is what I was meant to do. And I fell in love with teaching, actually, in the classroom. To be able to see a student not being able to construct a grammatically sound sentence, and then for them to see them being able to write a paragraph to an essay, and then not only being able to write an essay, but be able to communicate their ideas in class in the form of a speech, to negotiate with their friends, and to not only just sit like vessels waiting to be filled, but to understand that they're their own masters of understanding, to be able to critique ideas. So stuff like that, really, I realized that the power that a teacher has. I think that, is one of the most underrated professions, clearly, but I think that it's such a powerful position, because we are the makers. We help to create society, to shape society. And so from then I knew that I was really meant to be a teacher. So I'm passionate about it.
Yeah,
Absolutely. We can hear that.
Sorry.
no, it's wonderful.
Yeah, we all feel the same. I mean, we know it's in many ways it's such a sacred work, and what we do is such an honor to impact children. I mean, we're given a great privilege, actually, when we work with children, and we're there to help shape them and empower them and help them reach their great potential. That's why we feel passionate about it, because it feels like something that's really missing in the Japanese education system. They do many things well, but this just seems like something that's really missing, and we are now in a global world, and we really want our students to start to be equipped, and raise their awareness and give them those things that they deserve, in a school. So I'm going to hand it over to you. He's got some questions to follow up with.
Okay. Yeah, it's wonderful to meet you, and
Thank you
for telling us about yourself as a teacher.
Yeah.
I think, and to be honest, reading through your cover letter, your resume there, of course, the quote from Bell Hooks stood out for a moment. I was like, my goodness, hard to find someone who's read, teaching to transgress, So I got excited by that, and I want to know, were I to step into your classroom, what is the feeling of the space? What do you want it to feel like? What are people doing? Just to get a sense within your classroom and with your student.
In my classroom, I always try to establish my role as being a facilitator. I'm not here as the sole proprietor of any kind of knowledge or purveyor of truth. I'm just there on the sideline, scaffolding students and helping them to understand their own the responsibility that they have as students, because we're actually preparing them for not only just to have jobs, but also for citizenship. They're going to actually be able to, we want them to be able to not only go into Japan, but to become transformational leaders of tomorrow. Yes. And so in the classroom, I think that's the role I assume. And sometimes I think a facilitator, it might sound a lazy approach, but definitely not. I'm talking about being there and giving them activities like class discussions and questioning and projects where they assume responsibility and they're able to research and to not only just rely on my understanding or their understanding, but to be working with their peers and to be able to negotiate and find solutions to issues and to just inquire about stuff. So that's my role in the classroom. So my classroom is a communicative classroom. It's a collaborative classroom. It's a classroom where students understand that, yes, working individually it's good, but you get there a lot faster when you're working together. And so my classroom is a classroom that is not just about the content, yes, but it's also about the character development and helping students to understand even just world issues. And for us to be preparing students for the world, Japan is just, many of the students would not have traveled, right? So we need to ensure that the content that we're bringing into the classroom is content that is going to stretch students in ways that physically they are not able to stretch. Right. And so, for example, a student should be able to empathize with situations even though they've not been able to they've not experienced it or to have anyone close to them. Through the curriculum that we're able to do that, what you do in the classroom. So my classroom is a classroom that caters to the holistic development of the child or the student. I'm just sorry, just a moment. I think the AC air is a bit too warm, so I'm going to adjust the AC. Thank you. Just a moment.
Go ahead.
Sorry.
No,
thank you. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know if I sort of got you in the middle there. You wanted to finish off, or it's okay if I.
Yeah, so that's basically it. So it's a learning community, and working together and a lot of an active classroom. It's a classroom that I really love technology. I like to teach the way I like the way I learn best. I think that we should be catering to the multiple intelligences in the classroom. You know, I especially having been here as an not just as a, because now I'm currently in the role of a native teacher, so I have my own classroom, but I've also played the role as an assistant language teacher. I've observed the teaching, and the students are just there sitting and writing, taking memo, and I think that learning is it's more meaningful when the students are active, and when we find different ways to stimulate them. You know, you have tactile learners, students who are visual learners, students who learn orally. So I definitely try to ensure that I'm providing learning experiences that will cater to all the learners that are in the classroom, so that they can find different ways to be engaged with the content.
I think so.
Yeah, totally. And I mean, a lot of that stands at the heart of our approach and our program and our values. And part of that, which I think you'll understand, teaching in Japan is there is that unique challenge of wanting to bring this approach and bring these values and the ways to develop different mindsets we are coming within a system that is geared in a specific way. So we know where there's, working with Japanese learners, there's so many benefits. There's wonderful students we meet who touch our lives and who want to grow and work through our classrooms. But walking into the context with there are also unique challenges, and we have to understand what we're trying to do and how we can work around some of those challenges in the classroom. So given your experience, especially with Japanese learners, as you said, being a native English teacher, or even in the role as an ALT in the past as well, what are some challenges that you've noticed you've experienced working with learners, especially if you're trying to bring in a collaborative approach, and how do you sort of approach that or been able to overcome that?
The passive learners, that's definitely a thing here. A lot of students, even if they're competent, they lack the confidence, many of them. And I think also the fact that many of them don't want to be ostracized, or they don't want to be singled out. I don't know why. Culturally, that's a bad thing here in Japan, I think. So I think that especially students who are the passive, I try to gently scaffold them. I try to ensure, for example, a student who is passive, a lot of times is because they lack the confidence, I think. And so I try to let the student know, I'm definitely not going to single the student out and say, oh, you're so fabulous at English. However, I will see the student one-to-one and encourage them. Also in my class, I try to get them motivated. In my classes, I give certificates. So if students, I like a competitive class, because competition is a bad thing. I guess it's seen as a bad thing here, but I think it's realistic. You're preparing them, because when they leave the classroom, they'll be competing for jobs, they'll be competing in other areas of life. And so I'll have competitions where I'm always encouraging them to try to compete with themselves. So if you got a high score here, try to see what you can do next time. Okay, for example, for TOEIC class, I teach TOEIC, and every week we do they get vocabulary to study, and they get a quiz, and the students who consistently get perfect score, they get a certificate at the end of the term. So I try to get them to be competitive, or to get them to set new goals. For example, when they get a test, I actually have them write what their new goal is going to be, so that it's not only for them they have that paper, so when they're reviewing their notes, they are actually taking accountability for their learning. Another strategy I've been using in my classroom is I have a learner contract. So basically, when we start the term, I basically list what I'm going to do. Actually, I had a presentation, so I basically told them, okay, this is what I'm expecting, and this is what you can do. And we had a discussion about what it means. And then at the end of the presentation, they have to sign the contract. So I let them know from early that, look, I want you to achieve, but for you to be able to achieve, you also need to do your best. Okay, you need to be an active learner. I don't feel, you should be contributing as well. So I think when you set that tone from early, getting them to take ownership, getting them to become more responsible for their learning, it actually helps them to push harder, to thrive in the classroom. For group activities and stuff, I mean, usually it's never easy getting them to work together at first, but you have to be, one of the things lessons I've learned since I've become a teacher, you have to be consistent, right? So, I mean, maybe it won't work like magic the first time, but you have to be consistent. And when the students understand that, okay, this is just what Slater's class is going to be like, then they will adjust. However, if you try, okay, now you do it and then another term you don't do it until the next 2, 3, 4 weeks, the students would not have gotten the opportunity to become accustomed to your style as a teacher. So I think that I've learned from that as well, to be consistent with it, and to have a supportive role as well. Even for like activities, I get the students to contribute. So for example, if I'm going to for one of the classes I teach, computer assisted language learning, the students have to make presentations on countries. So they have to research a country and actually come in before the class, select a theme and examine 3 aspects of that country using the computer. I'm just following the curriculum. However, I could have, as a teacher, said, okay, these are the countries that you're going to do. No, I actually allow the students to decide among themselves the country that they wanted to do, because I understand that, okay, if the students are actually interested in it, and if they feel as if they're a part of the process, I'm not just being a draconian teacher and just telling them what to do. If they feel as if they're actually contributing to the process, they're more motivated and they will try harder and they'll be more passionate about it. So I also give students ample opportunities to contribute to the tasks that they're being given in the classroom. And so that's another way I try to motivate them to be active, because usually when you're interested in something, you try a lot harder than as opposed to when it's just imposed on you.
Exactly. Yeah, totally. Say it's about, as you said, building a space where they feel comfortable and motivated to want to learn and take risks. But it is a process.
It's a process.
Yeah, definitely there. And I've been talking for a while too, so I'm going to turn back and see if there's any other follow-up questions.
Okay. Yeah, I really do. So I think sometimes our students will be engaged with this content, and they'll come from maybe pretty low levels. Some will be maybe ACAN 3. I see that you kind of work with ACAN 3 and maybe up, but we may be looking at ACAN 4 or ACAN 5. But we really still don't give up, right? We're still bringing content-based learning, the activities. We really feel that they can engage with this. That can pose some problems for some teachers, and it does have challenges for us for sure. And done a great job with building up activities and being ahead of that, and so making sure that it happens. But you got to deliver, you got to facilitate, like you said. We totally agree with that approach to the classroom. What happens in terms of in your class when students need scaffolding? They're just not working with your content. You brought something to them and they're just not engaged. I mean, they're trying maybe, or they're trying is all silent maybe.
Yeah.
But you really need, you know that they can do it, and you don't want to give up on them. But you know that it's just, they're just not stepping into it really well yet, and you've got to make some adjustments. Maybe what are some of the things that you do when you realize that's happening, and you've got clear goals, you've got a pretty good lesson plan, and you may need to make adjustments, but they're just not there with you, right? And you've got to think about, on the fly, you've got to think about the scaffolding. As you talk about confidence, confidence is one thing to say, you guys can do it, but also confidence builds through them not being exasperated by difficult activities. You've got to build the gap, not too easy, but not too far. And got to kind of build them up to that point where they can really, really start to, get there. What are some things you do in your classroom?
All right. For example, aside from the obvious, I do always make time for my students outside of class. I actually have some cards that I have, and I usually give the students, or I have them on my desk, so the student can always come and take one to reserve a slot, because they go pretty quickly because of I teach 14 classes currently. Aside from making time for them outside of class, another strategy I use, especially when it pertains to writing, the students, because I'm currently dealing with that issue where I have students who are just at different extremes. And so what I do is I try to set objectives that are achievable. I try to ensure that the tasks that I give them are achievable, because I think that when the students, as you said rightfully, that if it's too much, they'll become overwhelmed and then they'll not try to attempt it. So I do try to gradually approach a task. For example, when I was teaching the students how to write essays, instead of just like saying, okay, these are the parts of the essay, what I did, I gradually scaffolded them. So first I told them, okay, see the essay like it's a hamburger, right? You have the introduction, and I showed them like a graphic organizer showing how the essay is structured. And then I said to them, okay, so today we'll be looking at the introduction. Then I would model how to write the introduction, and we'd spend like maybe a week on the introduction, right? And then I would say, okay, this is how you start, this is how, and then, you know, I would say to them, okay, and then this is the thesis sentence. And then the students now will work and try to, using my model, they will try to create their own introductions. And then they would get peer editing is something that I've been doing in my class, not only just working with a friend, but also I have group editing as well. So before we get to the group one, I'll talk about the peer editing. So then they have like a buddy, so she reads hers and the other person, and they exchange, and then we move on. Then we move on to the different parts of the essay. So I slowly have the students approach each task, and then when they realize that, oh, I was able to write an introduction, because they would have submitted them to me and I would have assessed them, and then I would have given them back and said, okay, let's move on. And then when they've achieved that, they realize, okay, it wasn't difficult, now let's approach the body. And then I would explain to them, okay, this is how you write the body. You need an introductory sentence, and they would try to write theirs, and then till we eventually cover the essay. I started teaching them in June officially because of the virus, and they were able to write essays, and 10 students submitted their essays to a competition that they recently had, the book that changed my mind and the thing I'm most passionate about, for my second graders and first graders. And they wrote really well constructed essays. Another thing that I've been doing with them is I have like an island. Unofficially, that's what I've been calling it. So the students now, they meet in groups, and then they submit their essays. They give me the essays, and then I exchange the essays for that table with another table. For example, there are 5 students. I would say to them, okay, each of you please take a different color pen. So like a pink pen, a red pen, a purple pen, green pen, orange pen. And then each student will get 5 minutes to edit the script that they have. And then after the 5 minutes have passed, I would say, okay, time's up. And they rotate the essay. So they rotate the paper. So each student would have contributed their editing to the task. And then at the end of the activity, I would say to the students, okay then, so now this is the edited version of your essays. Please bear in mind that you don't have to use these. You can take the suggestions if you do feel that they've improved your writing, and rewrite your essay, and then you submit it to me. And so I think this activity is so helpful, because it's not only allowing students to understand that they can actually work together. The editing, writing is a process, and you don't always get it right the first time, but with continued effort. And that sometimes, even if you've read it several times, a different eye, you know, might have a different result. If you have another person edit it, they might see issues problems that you might not have seen. Also, it's also a good opportunity for the students to understand that, to see their friends' work, and to see that what their friends are capable of achieving, and to look at them and say, okay, they wrote well constructed essays. If they can do it, I can do it too. So it's a good opportunity for them to see also what the other persons in the class have been doing. So that's another way I support the students. In terms of like speaking, questioning. For example, when we're doing a course called Ego Kaiwa. For Ego Kaiwa, they're actually looking at a CNN text. So there are different articles from the news CNX comprised, and they're actually in a text. And the students, we look at these articles. Sometimes we watch the videos, they read the articles, and then we talk about the issues. I think today we did the topic Standing Straighter, which is about the Leaning Tower of Pisa. And so they talked about it. Now, sometimes, especially those students who actually done study abroad and they've come back, those students are a lot more proficient. They're English, so they are a lot more confident and they're able to express themselves. But sometimes the other students are not able to. So, for example, if I'm asking them a question, I usually model on them. I write, for example, how they might start their response and how they might finish it. So I think it's always good if the students have some kind of guide, a template that they can use, because a lot of times they actually know the answers, but they just don't know exactly how to unlock them or how to communicate them. And I think that that's another way of helping them to get from point A to point B. So I mean, there are several ways I've been able to support them.
Yeah, there's a lot there. So tell you're passionate about writing.
Yeah, I guess
in a lot of ways as well there.
Our program also includes quite a bit of technology in the classroom. We have a learning management system, and students will be utilizing applications maybe from their tablets in the classroom. What's your experience using technology in the classroom, and how do you go about it? How do you feel about it?
In terms of technology, I'm very good with making content actually. So it depends on the application. I can easily adjust. I'm very adaptable. So I'm not quite sure what technologies you're referring to. However, I'm very techie. I love technology. I love using it in the classroom because I do feel like that's where we should be headed. I think that learning is a lot more effective when you pull on all the resources possible, and technology is it's definitely one way of capturing their attention and helping learning to be more effective. So yes, I'm very good with making content. I like making PowerPoints. I love making videos. I'm not opposed to technology at all. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What kind of apps do you like to use? Do you have any favorites that you're trying to use in your classroom now or in the past?
Apps?
Like applications like Kahoot would be a simple one that most people are aware of, but I don't know if there's others that you might be using or you'd like to use. I'd
like to use, but currently where I'm at the school I'm at, we only just have a basic projector. And yes, so aside from like PowerPoints and videos, we don't really have that much opportunities to use. Yeah. The students, most students, they don't have tablets, and yeah, so.
I see.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Understood. Yeah.
Great. Well, hello, Corona. It's so nice to meet
Hello.
you. I've thoroughly enjoyed listening to you, actually listening in my taxi ride. And I had two follow-up questions.
Okay.
One of them has to do, again, with tech. I completely understand the fact that you're comfortable with technology and you even create your own content, which is part of what I really liked about your resume in general, too, is you have your own channel. But I wanted to know, in the classrooms that you've had, have you ever experienced an environment where the students had technology?
Currently at the school I'm at now, students have recently started getting tablets, but those students are the junior students. So I think that eventually in upcoming years, the other students will also get. However, the students that I teach, they don't have tablets. So yes, so we aside from the projector and me being able to come into the class with my own computers, we don't really have that kind of system. However, as I said before, I'm very good. I'm not going to profess that I know all the apps that you have out there now, but I learn quickly. I pick up very quickly because I'm actually very interested in technology. So yes.
I can keep that one. No qualms there. So my other two go for it's more personal to you. So as I've been listening to you and listening to your deep, passion for education and all of your knowledge, you're enthralling. So two questions that I have. The first one is, what are you hoping for in your new position? What are you hoping to be able to do, or what are you hoping to be able to accomplish in the new position? And then what are you hoping to learn, or where are you seeing your future?
Okay.
Well, I definitely, honestly, I would like to be in a position where it's a lot more stable, a position where I can grow. It's very difficult to track my growth as an educator because I've been here and then I move from one job to another job. It's so I would want to be in a position where I can actually influence the curriculum, and I want to be in a position where I can actually visibly see my the progress that I've made or the contributions that I've made. Because even like at this school that I'm at now, I really had a great time. I've had a great time teaching the students, and the second year students, they've really started writing very well. And however, because they weren't able to keep me on because of limited resources, so it would have been lovely if I were able to see, for example, where the first year students would be next year, to see, because many of them, especially my class was their introduction to writing and how to write essays. So I would have been really happy to see how they'd be writing at second year or third year. So it's very difficult to see that because it's just the job security is not very in Japan it's very difficult, I think. In terms of I forgot the latter part of your question.
So you kind of answered it together. And you talked about your hope for a new position, kind of what you're hoping to learn and how you're hoping to grow, and then you mentioned briefly about how you kind of want to be involved in the development of a program in some way, or the curriculum. Is that where you see yourself kind of moving forward and growing?
Yeah, because I really love teaching. Teaching for me is not just a job. I really like teaching because it's one of those jobs I can honestly say I get up on a Monday and that feeling of despair that many persons say they have, today is Monday, or tomorrow is Monday. I don't have that feeling. I get up every Monday excited to go into the classroom, and I really want to have that continued, especially now I do have that feeling. I want a job where I get up every day excited about going to work. I'm gratified seeing my students excel. I'm gratified knowing that, okay, it's not a routine and it's not predictable, and every day I'm going to go into the classroom. Yes, there will be challenges, but there are also opportunities for me to grow and to stretch as an educator. One of the things I really love about myself as an educator is that I'm not opposed to changing. I will teach any level. I can teach any level, or students at any level of the education system, or students who are at different end of the spectrum. I don't really shy away from that because as I think that they empower me at the end of the day. Those experiences make me an even better teacher. And so I want to be in that kind of setting where I can not only be secured in my craft, but also I can actually see my growth, and my growth my growth would be manifested through students' performance. Because for me, teaching is not effective unless my students aren't excelling. And so that is what I use to judge my effectiveness and to judge my growth as an educator. Was I able to bring this child from here and elevate them to another level? So that's what I use. And if I'm not able to see that, it affects me. I think it really does.
100% understand that in our programs we have the data dives that we do. So in each module that you're completing, you're looking at where are your kids at, how are they growing, what's going on. And for yourself as an educator, devised a wonderful professional development plan that really helps you create your own professional development portfolio, your own, for your own personal growth, to see yourself, to be able to chart yourself, and be able to have those check-ins so you can see where was I at, where have I gone, where is, do I have artifacts of my growth? And the same thing for the kids. So I think that you would really enjoy that part. So that's all I have for me. I just wanted to get to know that little part of you, just to thank you for sharing that with me. And if you're okay, I don't have any particular questions at the moment, but I'd like to address some of the questions, Carolina, that you had as well.
Yeah.
If that's okay.
Okay.
And then if you have additional questions, we could either discuss those or send the information on to you as well. So you asked, and so some of these, the first one I'm going to turn over to Tess. I think the best position to address this first one is, what are the company's values, and what characteristics do you look for employees in order to represent the values there as well?
Sure. Yeah. So, we want to be a value-based company. We're not, we are not a nonprofit. We are a profit company, but that's not what drives us. We value education. We value the children. It's really all about them. So what we do is about value. To bring to the school a valuable program, to bring to the teachers a value program. That's got to be what's really key for us as a company, and in that is value in our employees. We want you to know that you're valuable to us. You're not a tool. We're not just using you to get to somewhere. That you have a life, you have value, you have thought, you have talent, you have much to bring to us, and we want to honor that, and find ways to make that happen for everybody. We want work-life balance. There's sometimes challenges where, like for us this year, it hasn't always been the kind of balance we'd hoped for, but we want that, and we are definitely wanting to make sure that you're enjoying your work too. So there's clear communication. We want transparency. We don't want things to be not addressed if some people have concerns. Again, it goes back to valuing each other and respect for each other. So those are really important values as a company. I think, is that part of the question?
It's just sort of what looking for employees in order to represent those values. If I can add just one word to the thing, and things Tim said to me, like the main word I think about is integrity. When I think about the company, we have the idea that with the schools we partner with, we're not just selling a product and walking away. We want to walk beside them. We want to see their school's journey, their students' journey, and but everyone's best interests have to guide every decision in that sense.
Thank you.
So I don't know if you have more to add there.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
And people that we're looking for are like you, people who love to be a teacher. They want to get up every morning and make an impact in the classroom. They realize that knowledge and education is not there just to regurgitate and meet tests, but it really empowers young people to lead their life the best that they can, and also because they're going to have an impact in society and their family and their friends. So we're instrumental in helping them and guiding them to be citizens and individuals who help our world. And so it's a great privilege to do that, and we're looking for people who feel that way and want to contribute that way in the classroom.
Turn the next question to you, if that's okay. I feel like I'm kind of emceeing here. My question is, what's your favorite part of working at this company? I'm just enjoying myself here. So, what's your favorite part about working at the company? My favorite part of working at this company, in a nutshell, I'll make it really brief because I don't want to go on forever. There's many things I love about working in the company. But one of the biggest ones comes from past experiences with other companies. And we always say, never ever leave the children. You leave the management, right? That's what happens. And you reach a threshold where you can't take it anymore, and you can't really let your light shine You don't feel like you're not fulfilled in every way that you want to be fulfilled. Either your creativity is being suppressed, or your ability to do your job well, or you just are being managed by incompetence. It's causing you distress all these different ways, right? So working for this company, what's wonderful is we have a team of educators, and we call ourselves like we're lifers. We've been doing it for a really long time. We still always have more to learn, but everyone is so open. We're creative. We're listening. We're trying to strive to be better, and we really care about quality education from a variety of facets, but a quality education. And we want to surround ourselves with the strongest team possible that has as many different ideas as possible, so that we can just make it as strong as we can. So I enjoy, like you said, I wake up and I have a 2-hour commute to
Wow.
and I woke up today and my knee was burning and I was tired and I was like, oh, I can't wait to do my lessons. And I was like, I can't wait to do the kids. I have class 3 today, and I can't wait to talk with something that I found, and I love collaborating with each other like that. So that's my favorite part about working for the company. The company always takes care of me. They value me. It's a fantastic, boss. He values me, and the team itself is a team. You feel like you're surrounded by like-minded individuals. You're all kind of striving towards the same path.
Yeah. Thank you for that.
Thanks. And I'll maybe go into the next one. It's my turn. So I hope I can, please, others jump in if I don't answer this adequately. What does success look like in this position? How do you measure it? I think the trickiest part of this question is we have a variety of schools in different contexts across Japan. And to us, we don't want this sort of cookie cutter model that we think we can jam into any school. So we have to have a balance between something that's sustainable, scalable, so we're not reinventing the wheel every time, but also understands that each learner is different, each school is different. So to me, what success looks like in this position is understanding the goals of the program, where we're going, being able to interpret the lessons, the resources, everything you're given, but understand at your school how to make it sing in a way for your learners and your classrooms there, to say that at this school I need to deliver this in this way, and for this class it looks like this. So our goal is, what we've done with our curriculum materials is we've developed out so much of that. It's always constantly being revised and going through. To us, we would want teachers in a really collaborative relationship with us, where they're saying, I'm working with this and this is how I did it with this class, but I'm thinking I need this adjustment. Let's work together. We don't want our teachers burdened with lesson planning, because we want them to focus on fun with the delivery and working with the school and making it sing there. So that's probably, to me, success means understanding the goals of the program, understanding the context you're in, and how to make that work together. Sorry for that.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you for that.
To add to that, I think the schools that are already taking our program all want to continue. And a great job at these schools, and the teachers see the impact already that's happening in children. And as you said, you want to see growth, and a lifelong pursuit. It doesn't happen in one class or 1 year, but we can really equip them. We can get them going. So that's our goal, and I think success comes out in seeing the students change too. All the things that Erica said, but also seeing them, getting this content, getting this program in this way that's so different for them, and they're starting to really participate in what we envisioned could happen is happening, and it's going to happen, and it's going to grow each year. And it's subtle, it's small, because it's a big ship, education in Japan, and it's been headed a certain way for a very long time. But we're a little rudder, but I think we're having an impact at these schools, and that's the dream behind that. Is and you don't know how it's always going to work out, right? But it's working, and as we all know, it'll continue to evolve, and we'll continue to have great people join us. And so I just wanted to add that part about.
Thank you.
Before we go into the last question, I don't know if that was your doorbell or anyone. Did you need to check on that?
That was mine, but it's okay. It's okay.
Are you sure? Okay.
Yeah, it's okay. Yeah.
I know you still had one more question there. And
Yeah.
we can all fight over who gets to answer this. Is
Mhm.
what do you see as the most challenging aspect of the job? Anyone?
I can jump on that.
Okay.
I'll jump on that one that piggybacked off of Ruby's answer, which was what does success look like?
Mhm.
So she talked about how kind of what your job is as a really mastering the delivery of a lesson.
Mhm.
And so that goes into the challenge aspect because it's very hard to lay out this map for you. It's a very comprehensive map. You look at it, you go, wow, there's so many different stops we're going to make, and we're going to see so many things. And look at this, we're taking 7, right? We're going on this route, we're going to do this. The reality is that occasionally there's an accident on that road, and you need to figure out how do we still get to the destination, right? Without veering too far off. How can we still make our way back to where, that map goes right back to that spot? So I think the most challenging parts is, like she said, there are all these different schools and environments, situations that you're working in. You're not going to have like 5 schools, but you would have maybe 1 or 2 where you've just got different learners in a different classroom. Go in, you've thoroughly prepared, and when you enter, it's just, there's traffic on that road. It's just not what you thought.
Yeah.
The road blew up, and it's just not what you thought. So the challenge is to really figure out in that moment how to adjust to get your kids moving. Really inquire into where your learners are and to be very aware of that component. And the challenge of meeting students that have never experienced this before. A lot of them have never experienced it before. So you walk in and we've got all this energy, let's go, whatever. I got these great plans, I did all this stuff, and the kids are just
looking at you.
you know what I mean? So that is up with the challenging component. And having enough confidence in yourself, enough humility in yourself to feel like this is okay. I'm not a bad teacher just because I am trying to figure this out right now in the moment with the kids. I will get there. They will get there. I will see them grow, but don't become discouraged and, pull into yourself and go, well, then maybe I should go to old traditional ways then, because they know that. I'm just going to talk to them for 45 minutes. So that in itself is kind of the challenge of you have this wonderful information and you're so excited to deliver it, but sometimes it just doesn't go according to plan.
Yeah.
So to me, that's the part, and that's where we're looking for people like yourself who have that skill and background knowledge and are paying attention and reflective enough to see what should I do differently? How can I reach these kids?
Thank you, thorough. Thank you.
Any other questions that you have before we wrap up here?
I was just after hearing what you said about the possibility of being sent to several schools. What's the most the maximum schools you might be sent to?
A teacher might be sent to.
We really want to keep it to 2 schools, so that's what we have planned for this year.
Okay.
And in most cases, it's 1 school.
Oh, okay.
No more than 18 hours a week. That's not 18 different preps, because you may have 4 or 5, 6 junior high students who really need that same lesson every week.
Okay.
I mean so when you have 6 classes or 9 classes at that school, you're delivering that week's lesson to this again and again to those students. Of course, different. You're going to adjust, obviously, to the classroom dynamics, but that's what we see.
It's the same lesson at the end of the day.
It's the same lesson.
Yeah, you're not
differentiating and scaffolding in different ways.
Yeah. Yes.
We've all been tired making 20 different lesson plans with 20 different groups for 20 different reasons, and that's really exhausting. So that, I hope that answers your question.
Yes,
generally,
it has.
No more than 2. And of course, if it were 2, we'd make sure that, again, going back to value, we don't want our teachers exhausted. And so, not only you can't be at the top of your game if you're constantly, exhausted each week. So.
Thank you. That's it.
There you go.
All right, great. So a few questions for you. Would you be interested in relocating to different parts of Japan to teach? Right now we have schools in just wanted to know how you feel about that.
I'd like to stay in the Kanto area.
You like to stay in
The Kanto, yes. Yeah, I'm in Saitama. I recently moved to an apartment that I really love, and I'm just, I like here.
That's good.
Yes.
Okay, good. I like Tokyo too.
Yeah.
So, and is there any deadlines or things we should be aware of in terms of moving forward? That we should just be aware of.
I'd like to know. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
I'd like to know what's the next step. What's the next stage?
Sure, absolutely. So we will follow up next week with you, and the second part is a demo. So we send you the materials. It would be on this way, and we would be your virtual student.
Oh, my students. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so, and we would give you all the instructions and things that you need to know about that in an email. But that's what we would do next. That's our second part of the interview, and generally after that, we're able to make a decision. And so we will be making our decisions quite soon about the positions that we're filling. So it's not going to be a long, lengthy process. It's not going to take us months. So it's very, we're going to have a turnaround very soon for you.
Okay.
We know you need to make decisions too.
Yes.
So we don't want to delay.
Okay. Thank you so much. Okay. So I look forward to meeting you guys again. Thank you so much for this interview. You guys, I feel like I'm surrounded by 3 sharks. You're like, dun, dun. Okay, you take her. Okay, you take her. Yeah. But it was a good interview.
For so long now, we're just kind of like.
Yeah, but thank you so much. It was a good, good speaking to you guys, and look forward to the next step. Bye bye.
Absolutely. Okay, please take care.
Bye.